The first item on the agenda is public participation. Ms. Liz, do you have anyone signed up? Okay, we'll move on to approval of previous meeting minutes, 6:30:22.
Second.
And a motion to approve by Ms. Marino, seconded by Ms. Vinolo. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries 5-0. The next item is Kirby McCabe Playground and Block Grant. This was placed on the agenda at the last meeting. I'll pass this off to Ms. Grant to see if there's any updates on this.
So, we do have a group, and we have been meeting. At this time, we don't have any updates, but we are, getting together diligently, and, as soon as we do have any updates, we will present them at the meeting.
Seeing no discussion on this item, we'll move on to new business discussion action items. There's an item here that was placed by a member who is not present today, JMW inclusion at the Unified High School.
Motion to table.
Then a motion to table by Ms. Vinolo was seconded by Mr. Marino. Ms. Liston, please call the roll on the motion to table.
Ms. Vinolo.
Yes.
Ms. Grant.
Yes.
Mr. Larby.
Yes.
Mr. Marino. Ms. Doobie.
Yes. JMW inclusion at the Unified High School has been tabled 5-0. The next item is approval of statewide bond pay-go amendment number 1. Ms. Devine.
Good evening. Before you tonight, there is an amendment on the newest pay-go, the $220 million bond, of which we received $48 million. The reason the amendment is in place is because we are substantially complete and we have about another 2 months of invoices to receive in to spend on the rest of the funds. And so RIDE recommended extending the agreement through December 31st. So that's the only change on the amendment, is to extend it through December 31st. We should have all of the invoices sent down by the end of August, maybe September.
And a motion to approve by Ms. Vinolo. This is the amendment number 1. It was seconded by Mr. Larby. Any discussion on the amendment? Ms. Liston, please take a roll call vote.
Ms. Vinolo.
Yes.
Ms. Grant.
Yes.
Mr. Larby. Mr. Marino. Ms. Doobie.
Yes. The motion carries 5-0. Thank you. The next item is school committee regular meeting date change from September 13th, 2022 to September 14th, 2022. As we might recall, when we were approving the calendar, the state had not yet set their the primary dates. There was rumors they wouldn't set it right after Labor Day. That has happened, and they moved it back. So that meeting is being moved due to the charter that says it would be held the next day on a Wednesday. So a motion to approve the meeting date change from September 13th to September 14th by Mr. Larby. It was seconded by Mr. Marino. Any discussion on this? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries 5-0. See you all after the primary. The next item is approval of catering agreements for private schools, St. Cecilia's and St. Teresa's. I was hoping you didn't go all the way back to your seat.
I didn't. I have to save up on steps, right? So we have before you 2 Aramark vending agreements with 2 private schools, St. Cecilia's and St. Teresa's. During upon the pandemic, all students were able to eat meals free, and that included the private school students, although private school students are not part of the school lunch program. But I'm assuming that they enjoyed the lunches and having them prepared for them and delivered to the school, that the school asked if they could be a vending, as we do with some of the other catering agreements that we have out there with the summer and Rhode Island Alternative. And so we have the two schools. One is $4.60, and it is treated as a catering. The reason it is 60 cents higher than the other school is one school needs some labor, and all of that is vending revenue to the program.
Second.
And motion approved by Mr. Larby, seconded by Ms. Miller. Discussion. Ms. Grant.
When you state labor, what do you mean in regards to that?
So they include in their vending meals, the labor to put the packs together, and that's the price they charge the school. But one school doesn't have anybody to pass out the boxes, where the other school probably has parent volunteers. So they had asked if they could send some labor out to distribute the boxes to the students or the lunches to the students. So they are charging them a higher vending price.
Ms. Devine, I know we've had these over the summer. Is this the first time we've had this kind? I mean, this will be some sizable revenue into our program because it will be all school year.
Yes, correct. We haven't had, in my previous district, we did do they have a single St. Rocco school in Johnston. They did do a program as this, but they did 4. The only other vending program we have is, Rhode Island Alternative Learning. So this is good news. It is. It's going to be, I don't know, what the meal counts are. Josh went on vacation and I meant to ask him, but I will get those counts for you so we can, estimate the revenue. But this would be a sizable revenue to us if they're delivering daily.
And these would be the counts from last year when all of the meals were free. So it probably wouldn't be.
It might not be
high.
all of them, right, it might not be all of them, but I think in the past, what, private schools typically do is they may not offer a lunch, or they may, get pizza delivery. So I think that it was convenient for them over the last few years to see that the healthy, meals that are being put together by Aramark, under the guidelines of the USDA, that they wanted to sign up both of them, and we have the 2 that are in the district, they both wanted to sign
Oh,
up.
excellent. Seeing no further discussion, Ms. Liston, please take a roll call.
Ms. Finola,
Yes.
Ms. Grant, Mr. Larrabee, Mr. Marino, Ms. Doobie.
Yes, the motion carries. 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item, Ms. Manolo, you asked to place this on the agenda, oral hygiene screenings.
So, the Puckett School Department, the students have gone 2 years now without having an oral screening, for lack of dentists. I did find out today that we have 4 dentists now signed up so they can split it within the community. The other thing is Rhode Island Department of Health is putting out a new oral hygiene curriculum at I believe it will be at the October Wellness Committee. Sam from the Rhode Island Department of Health will be in attendance and make a 20 to 30 minute presentation. So anybody who is in the health education field is welcome to join us.
And what's the date for that, Ms. Manolo?
October 24th, I believe.
Thank you. Just checking, Mr. Ashby, I just had a text from someone who says they can't see the video.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So, they said as soon as they got the audio, they lost the video. Okay, thank you.
We're working on
Okay, the next item is, policy changes needed in response to Department of Health and RIDE cannabis regulations. Ms. Manolo, do you want to introduce this and then we can pass this over to legal to explain?
Sure. So the Rhode Island Department of Health, as they have legalized cannabis use statewide, there are also 22 students within all of our state that have prescriptions, medical cards for the use of cannabis. So what I am looking for is for the policy committee to indicate that it can be a tincture, it can be a gummy, it can be, should we have any students that way, but it cannot be through smoke or through vaping.
Attorney Klein?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the committee, I did have some conversations with some of the members of the committee once these regulations were published. And when I saw the topic on this agenda, I prepared a memo, which is sort of a plain language review of the most salient points of the regulations. I realized just as I was getting ready to leave my office, that it was in my drafts of my email. I never hit the send button. So with your permission, may I pass out the hard copies, everybody? Thank you. So I'll go through this quickly just to highlight the regulations. As a consequence of recent legislation that was passed, the Department of Health and the Department of Education got together to issue regulations. And essentially the regulations are from DOH, from the Department of Health, and essentially health regulations, but they were worked on in collaboration with RIDE. First and foremost, any student must be authorized to engage in the use of medical marijuana, and we have to receive documentation authenticating that. In addition, parents must provide written instructions for the administration of the medical marijuana, and it outlines what the specific contents of that written instructions must be from the parents before the student can be administered medical marijuana. In addition to that, the parents must provide written signed statements releasing the school, employees, volunteers, anybody in the process from liability, except in the case of a willful or wanton misconduct by anybody in the district. All of the medical marijuana products that will be administered must be obtained from a Rhode Island licensed compassion center. All the medical marijuana products must be labeled, and it identifies the specifics that must be contained in it. For instance, the student's name, date of birth, dosage, all those kinds of details. Each dose of medical marijuana administered to a student must be documented, and it outlines what must be required in the documentation of each dose. There's an entire section that deals with the administrative process, the administration of medical marijuana to a student by smoking or other forms of inhalation is prohibited. The district has to identify the specific location on school grounds where the administration may take place. Students are prohibited from handling or self-administering. The district's protocol or policy must prohibit a student's possession, use, or distribution of the marijuana anywhere in the school. A student does provide that a student who is authorized to use medical marijuana may not be considered under the influence of marijuana and subject to any school disciplines for the use of it. The school nurse may administer the medical marijuana to a student so long as all those protocols are followed, and it must be kept in a secure cabinet designated by the policy that must be developed. A school nurse may not be subject to disciplinary action solely for following an appropriate written certification to administer marijuana by the licensing authority for the nurse. Now, school nurses are not required to administer medical marijuana to a student. However, that nurse's decision not to administer the medical marijuana must apply to all students that are authorized in the program, not just to any particular student. And a district whose school nurse refuses to administer the medical marijuana must make alternative arrangements for the student to receive the medical marijuana during the school day. These regulations do not apply when a student is on a school-sponsored trip, participating in an activity outside of Rhode Island, and it will not apply if a district can reasonably demonstrate that it would lose federal funding as a result of implementing a policy in accordance with the regulations. That's just a highlight of the regulations. And I've also attached a copy of the regulations so that after you review it in more detail, you have any questions, I'll be obviously happy to answer.
Ms. Vinall.
So, in addition to this, we don't have very secure nursing locations. So I think we need to, should it come up, we need to look at the area where, the medical marijuana will be stored. And we also need to look at, a policy that will prohibit use of cannabis on, other than medical marijuana, in another form, at our ball fields, at our recreation areas, on the playgrounds, dropping kids off, dropping kids, in all of those areas. And I think because it's legal, we need to define, all of these things in our policy. So I would like to make a motion to refer this to the policy committee.
There's a motion to refer this discussion to the policy subcommittee by Ms. Mills, and seconded by Mr. Marino. Any discussion on this? So this obviously is, we've had similar things come up where we just kind of take the exact language from the regulation to put it into our policy, and then link to it. Are you hearing that other school districts are acting now to modify policy?
So a lot of the conversation, once these got published a few weeks ago, and reviewed, there's been a lot of the conversation has been about reaching back out to RIDE and the Department of Health with concerns that districts are having with the regulations. That, it's one of the concerns is there wasn't a lot of consultation with the LEAs before these were published and promulgated. There hasn't been a request yet from the Department of Health to RIDE for us to do that, but I think that it's very likely that you're going to see some communication going back the other way to RIDE and Department of Health with questions and concerns about the regulations. I think there's a lot of that conversation going on, yes.
Because RIDE in the past has put out just a model policy for districts, but that hasn't happened yet.
That is not happening yet.
Is there a motion to refer this to policy subcommittee? See no further discussion. Ms. Lucy, please take a roll call.
Ms. Mello? Yes. Ms. Grant? Yes. Mr. Larby? Yes. Mr. Marino? Ms. Dooby?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Okay, we do have, I believe, almost the remainder are facilities items. Our facilities chair was unable to be here. He did say Colliers was going to take the lead on some of these. So the first one is review, discuss, and recommendation to approve architect for Goff window replacement project. So I hope I didn't just put you on the spot, but I'm passing it over.
Good evening, everyone. Chris Spiegel here for Colliers Project Leaders. Colliers Project Leaders solicited publicly qualifications packages for architects related to the Goff window replacement project. For those that are aware, Goff is a historic building. It's listed on the National Historic Register. So replacing the windows does require lengthy reviews by the Historic Commission as well as RIDE SBA. Of that public procurement, 2 firms submitted bids. Of those 2 firms, we recommend that the district to go with Westling Architects. The reason for that recommendation is that Westling Architects, their specialty is historic envelope projects. That is pretty much the focus of their design firm, is working in historic buildings and doing envelope projects such as a window replacement. Happy to take any questions.
Do we want to put a motion to approve first on the table and then start discussion? There's a motion to approve by Ms. Manolo, to second by Ms. Grant. Ms. Manolo and Ms. Grant, did you have a question as well? Oh, I didn't see your hand. Ms. Manolo.
Did I miss the paperwork on that?
It's, in the binder, it's,
They provided a lengthy proposal as to the other architecture firm, and you will notice almost 90% of the projects that they reference were historic projects.
I see multiple in Pawtucket,
Yes.
actually.
Actually, the principal of the firm that would be working with, actually lives in that renovated firehouse in Pawtucket. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Oh,
He's a Pawtucket resident.
excellent. You good, Ms. Hill? Okay. Seeing no further discussion, Ms. Liston, please take a roll call.
Ms. Fenello?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Larrabee? Mr. Marino? Ms. Doobie?
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. The next is approval of grease trap cleaning and service RFP. Mr. Silva.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Not bad, thank you. The first item I'm here before you for approval is the grease trap cleaning and service, maintenance contract. It's for a 3-year period through 2025. We sent out an RFP. We received one response to our RFP from Wind River Environmental, who is our current vendor, actually. The proposal was year one per trap cleaning would be $206.75. Year two would be $221.75. Year three would be $236.75. The cost of labor and repairs for the technician per hour during normal working hours would be $225 per hour the first year, $250 per hour the second year, $275 per hour the third year, and they would go up on the overtime hours to $275 the first year, $300 the second year, $325 the third year. The facilities department recommends that the school committee accept Wind River's environmental proposal.
And a motion to approve Wind River Environmental Proposal by Ms. Grant and seconded by Ms. Finello. Any discussion on this proposal? Seeing none, Ms. Liston, please take a roll call.
Ms. Fenello?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Larrabee? Mr. Marino? Ms. Doobie?
Yes. The motion carries 5-0. The next is approval of boiler water treatment services RFP.
Yes, we also went out on the RFP for that, for the boiler water treatment services. We went out, we asked for a 3-year RFP for 3-year pricing. We received one RFP, which again is from our current vendor, Frank Brown's company. The first year, the total was $16,686.64. Year two is $17,470.98. Year three is $18,788.65. That's monthly service for all our boilers. The facilities department recommends that the school committee accept Frank Brown's proposal for boiler water treatment.
Then a motion to approve by Ms. Grant, and seconded by Ms. Finello. Any discussion on this item? Ms. Liston, please take a roll call vote.
Ms. Fenello?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Larrabee? Mr. Marino? Ms. Doobie?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Next, changing the guard. Okay, we have approval of Kirby McCabe carpet replacement with vinyl composite. Here we go.
Facilities department sought out multiple quotes for replacement in 6 classrooms at Kirby Elementary School. Using NPA and the 364, my department reached out to all 4 listed contractors and we received 3 responses, 2 of which we did the walkthrough in the required time frame. What we're going to be doing here in these 6 rooms was remove of existing rugs, code base, also skin coat of all the floors, install VCT in all 6 classrooms, and also install 700 linear feet. They'll also dispose all materials related to the job. This is also prevailing wage. We received 2 bids, KCI Engineering and Maintenance, which was $25,842. The second was Sole Source Construction, $38,800. I would ask for the school committee on my recommendation to award to KC Engineering and Maintenance for replacing of the Kirby Elementary floors.
Second.
Motion to approve by Ms. Larrabee, and seconded by Ms. Finello. Ms. Grant? Ms. Grant?
John, so I know right now Kirby, has a pretty busy schedule over
They're
there.
going to start August 8th.
Okay,
And
so,
in the time frame I told them they have to be done in a week and a half. So I know that our guys can get in there as they're going and waxing the floors, and it still gives them the teachers the time to get in and take care of their rooms.
So will that give the teachers enough time to go into those classrooms?
I think it'll give them a full week.
So they'll get a full week
Yep.
to go in. and-
Some might get sooner, because depending on as they go, we'll just wax them and put the stuff back, and we'll have the principal notify them if they want to come in early. They might even get to go maybe after the first week.
So I just want to make sure. So the classrooms that are going to be done over, when does all the classes end that are over at Kirby? Like ESY?
Next Thursday,
Next Thursday, which is,
the fourth, and they're gonna start on Monday.
and then the start on the Monday. So if the kids are still in the classrooms, how do the teachers empty the classrooms?
The custodians have already spoken with the principal, and they're gonna take the stuff out. A lot of stuff can stay on the outer rim. It's not just gonna be furniture mostly,
Okay,
and then they're just gonna eliminate all the rugs inside the rooms. And put in. These were 6 of the rooms that weren't done during the big project at Kerber last year.
Yeah.
And we had kind of promised them that we get them done.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, with my guys, I was unable to do it because I'm trying to spread them out through bigger projects through Goff and Tolman. So we thought this would be the best way to try to get it done in a quick time.
Thank
Is
you.
this the remainder of the rugs at Kerbin?
And there's only a couple of offices left. During the school year, we actually did a couple of the offices, the principal, the one connected to it, the nurses station. So we were doing the small ones. This will take care of all the classrooms. There's still a couple more offices left that I talked to Shannon and told her we could try to get those done during the break in December.
Ms. Miller?
So how many of those rooms are on the outer walls?
1, 2, probably 5. No, probably not all of them.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we know we have a problem with heating on the outer wall.
Right.
So,
That's a whole, that's a different discussion, but I prefer tile either way. I mean, if we need to, we can talk to the teachers and discuss if they want some kind of a big throw rug down or something like that. I know sometimes teachers are used to a certain room, and then maybe at that point they get tile and it might echo slightly. We can always, whatever they want, we'll provide for them.
okay, I just was thinking as far
And
as,
cold and stuff like that. That's why I was thinking the tile, the same thing, yeah.
okay, thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, Ms. Liston, please take a roll call vote.
Ms. Nola? Yes. Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Larry? Mr. Marino? Ms. Doobie?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. The next item is approval to include budget revision of up to $50,000 for new library books, materials, and equipment for Henry J. Winters Elementary. Oh, sorry, this is someone's item. I'm sorry.
So,
Please.
we have a new school, Henry J. Winters, and it's going to start. And if any of you have been in the school before, it was this little cubby and it had books from floor to ceiling. Well, it's a new school, it needs new books. So I would like to make a motion that up to $50,000 be spent on new books to fully fill the new library, the new media center, and any other incrementals that are required.
So in addition to that, during the move, so everybody knows, 2 years ago when we moved out of Henry J. Winters, it was, everything was packed up, and, now that we're in the process of going back, some of the books that, we thought were there are not there, and they have not been, located. So I just wanted to be clear about that this is also replacing some of those titles in teaching materials that the teacher needs. Second?
Motion to approve by Mr. Lowry, seconded by Ms. Manolo. Ms. Grant, further discussion, Ms. Grant.
So I guess I have a question. So are all the books going to be new? Or are we using some of the old ones too?
There are some titles that I'm sure that if you know anybody that's an avid reader and a librarian, they're very, very attached to their books. And so we want to make sure that anything that's really important to the librarian. So she will be, using her own wisdom and guidance on, making sure that the library is not only stocked, but also has important titles that are critical to her teaching. So with that being said, there will some will be.
So with the ones that are left over, could I make a suggestion that maybe we donate them? Whether we donate them to students who might want them first. And then maybe we could, look into maybe some programs that have children who, maybe are homeless, that are within DCYF care, that, maybe they could have some of their own books on their own.
Do we already have an agreement with any, because we have other books that we get rid of? I know that there's a local Pawtucket company that, that takes care of recycling and donating books, but also Books Are Wings and.
Yeah, there are organizations like Books Are Wings, and we also will be having those, the book vendor, the vendor, what do you call them? The vending machines, yes. So that could also be a possibility. But I do want to say that when the librarian did go to the annex, she didn't go with a significant amount of books. She went with just a limited amount. So I'm not sure, she needs to, number one, determine what is needed and what she already has, and that's going to take a process. And I know that she's working over the summer diligently to do that.
Sure, no, definitely. I just want to make sure that after they are, that we just don't find them, well, not throw them away, but that we just don't find them in 5 years sitting someplace
Right.
and nothing ever came of them. When we know that there's children out there
Right,
who could probably really use them.
I think we will keep an eye on that.
Ms. Olson, please take a roll call.
Ms. Manila,
Yes.
Ms. Grant,
Yes.
Mr. Larby, Mr. Marino, Ms. Doobie.
Yes. The motion carries 5-0. The next two items I'm going to pass over to Ms. Grant. We have owners, project manager, and architect for Jenks first.
So, this actually began, myself and Miss Doobie, had done some tours, in Jenks. And, we had, visited the, special education classroom. And we had noticed that, they have I guess I want to make sure I kind of state it correct. It's a life skill type of room. It's not a full life skill type of room, because when you get into the transition programs, that's when you have your full life skill type programs. But they have one where the students are taught certain skills that can help them. And we noticed that, for children who are that have accessibility, and just the age of the items in the actual, I guess, kitchen life skill area. We had thought that this might be a good idea. We had spoke to the special education director, and our hopes was that we could, maybe start doing some renovations and upgrades to that area. If anyone has been in that area, it is an alley kitchen, so there isn't a lot of room, but we just want to make sure that, the students are all able to use it, and that they have the proper updated type of equipment. So I don't know if Dr. Andre is here, if he wanted to, speak upon it. He actually had taken us on the tour, and if I didn't know if you wanted to say a few words about it.
Yeah, sure. I think it's an awesome opportunity for our students to upgrade the current galley kitchen, as Mrs. Grant spoke to. It is outdated. I believe it was the original furniture that was built back in when it was built. I think it's a nice space. It'll provide plenty of opportunity. I do believe, again, I'm not the engineer, but I do believe that there's enough of room in that particular space to meet the needs for the future upgrades that we have inside. That's with respects to Jenks, correct? All right, I'll hold on.
And just to clarify, Ms. Grant or Dr. Andre, the vote tonight would be to go out to bid?
So Mr. Silva can help me out. My understanding is we're not the project experts here. So what we have a vision, and what we would like the school committee's permission is to bring the next level to secure an architect, I believe.
So like I said, is this a vote to go out?
Right.
The current list.
So yes, so what we would
Yes,
ask
the
you to
NPN.
do in order to, we're currently actually a public procurement right now for the ADA improvement projects across some of the bathrooms across the district. So we have a lot of proposals coming in just next week. We thought we would look at those as well as look at which vendors are off the NPA, work with this group to select a group, selecting architecture firm to move forward. That's if you choose to extend Colliers, if you want to do that.
So the vote would be to, have Colliers bring a bid back to, is that what we're
So I
saying?
think the
I'm sorry, I
goal
just
would be to give Colliers permission to be the owner's project manager for this project and to solicit proposals off the NPA.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, so that's the motion. There is one.
Yeah, because we had looked at I had spoken with, Mr. Cody and, he had spoken to Chris and, we had looked at the project and, I feel that we all believe that it did fall within the, confines of the rules to go off of those lists, which I think would be, speed up the process.
And Mr. Conley, just to clarify with you, does this a roll call?
Ms. Vinolo? Yes. Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Larry? Ms. Marino?
Yes.
Ms. Doobie?
Yes. The motion carries 5-0, and then as a sequel, Ms. Grant?
So, this item, similar to the item before, is actually for the actual, transition, for our transition students who have graduated and, they still stay within, our district. And as they transition into, whether it's, living on their own or, getting jobs. So again, myself and Ms. Doobie and Dr. Andre toured the area. And we felt that the area that they're in is such a perfect area with the space. They have their own entry. There is a kitchen that does need some upgrading. And Dr. Andre had gone and done some research for us to see if we could try to make this spot as spectacular as some of the other ones that are out there in other districts.
And it would be a similar vote on this as well, just to clarify. A motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve Colliers DOPM solicit bids for the transition area by Ms. Vinolo and seconded by Ms. Grant. And I do want to thank Ms. Grant for her advocacy on this. I have multiple years, I've walked our schools with Marino and walked our 16 schools and neglected to walk our transition space. And at a special committee meeting, special education subcommittee meeting, Ms. Grant brought us down and we saw that this is such a valuable space that we have in our district. It is a school in our district, but it's not a school. It's for our adult students to become just really valuable citizens. And it's really, I encourage people, I encourage the committee members to tour this space, and with Ms. Grant's advocacy, that it's going to become even better. So I do thank you for this. Ms. Osi, please take a roll call.
Ms. Vinolo?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Larry?
Yes.
Mr. Marino?
Yes.
Ms. Doobie?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. The next is school committee policy first passage, GDGB, substitute teacher policy, Mr. Larrabee. Oh, and this is, for the committee, it is, not in the binder. It was handed out. Thank you.
Yeah, so before you today for first passage is policy DDGB, substitute teacher policy. So the policy subcommittee would like to recommend that we amend our policy to reflect that the substitute rates that we agreed upon for the pandemic to remain as moving forward, even though we're in somewhat post-pandemic. So the substitute teacher rate will be 125 with the rise certified teacher rate being of 225 a day.
The motion to approve the recommendation to amend the substitute teacher policy by Ms. Grant, seconded by Ms. Bonolo. Any discussion on this? Ms. Grant?
I just wanted to ask a question. I know during COVID and during everything that had been going on, we had increased the rates. Have we looked into just to see if we're still having problems, if we are competitive with the other districts?
Yes.
Still?
Yes.
So, Mr. Devine, I did research on districts in our surrounding areas, and they all are at those very same prices, 125 and 225.
I just want to make sure that we're competitive, you know? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lowry, for the fast turnaround on this. I know this was just in the last meeting. Seeing no further discussion, Ms. Lucy, please take a roll call vote on the first passage of this policy, which we, if it passes, we will put on for the next meeting. The second passage, please.
Ms. Bonolo?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Larry?
Yes.
Mr. Marino? Ms. Subi?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. And like I said, the next meeting, please place it on for second passage so you can have it in effect. Okay, we are into our discussion items. So we have 2 items that we will call up Colliers, I believe, for the winter schedule update and summer projects update. Is that both Colliers or?
Yes.
Okay, so you can just lead us through that. We can start with the winter's schedule update.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Had both Kathy from SLAM and Cheryl from Gilbane to go through the package you have, to go through the delivery of winters and the schedule. So I'll let Kathy take it away.
Kathy Althorpe from SLAM Collaborative. Nice to see you all again. And I'm very excited to have been in winters numerous times recently. I know it's a work in progress, but they're progressing quite well, quite quickly, and quite diligently. So the information that you got, there's a letter that was written by the Gilbane, and Cheryl can talk to any questions about that. And then I put together just a little sort of overview of what does the letter sort of really mean when you look at what, how do you deliver the school and how do you use it. So all the educational programs are identified as being available before school opens. My understanding is that on the 22nd, the spaces will be the teachers' equipment.
Yeah, all of the boxes will be in the teachers' room on the 22nd, and the teachers will be able to go into their classrooms and start setting up on the 24th.
So they'll have time to get themselves organized in a brand new space, which hopefully they'll be quite excited about that. There's a couple of spaces that will not be available inside the building, and on the memo that I had sent out, I'm seeing that they are cut off. I got a bigger one, so hopefully you all see the same thing. You have that one, okay, all right. So the gymnasium is being used right now as staging area for a lot of different products, including the furniture, which gets assembled when it gets on site and then brought into the rooms. So once all the furniture and other things are out of that space, then Gilbane's teams will be in there putting in the flooring. And the flooring is a multi-step process. It takes, I've heard, a couple of weeks, if not 20 to 25 days. So there's a bit of time required for that, but all of your outdoor play spaces will be available to you. So the children can be outside playing during their free time outside, or if gym class needs to go outside in good weather. The kitchen had a little bit of a delay in, as you've heard from numerous people, supply chain's a little wonky right now. And the walk-in coolers and freezers were a bit delayed so that you have to put them in before you complete the rest of the space. So the kitchen will not be available immediately, but I understand that you're making other provisions for food service during that period of time. And, sorry?
So we have the walk-ins now. So why can't you get an electrician to?
They're brand new, they actually get built into a recess in the floor steps down and they get built in, so you can't take them from someplace else and put them in there. And I believe they're there now, right? Are they?
Correct, but the multi-layer process is they get built. And then there's a topping slab, a 3-inch concrete topping slab, which takes time to cure over a week. Then the epoxy floor can go on, and that takes almost a week because it's 3 layers. Then the equipment can be set, and then it can be connected by the electricians and plumbers. So it's just that step-by-step process.
Right, but we have them now. When are they going to start working on that process?
They just got finished being built in the space today, and the concrete may be in them tomorrow or Monday. But again, it's weeks and weeks after that until the equipment can be connected.
Okay, thank you. Because the kids are going to be eating box lunches until September 25th. And, no? September 12th?
The 12th, yeah, so.
But that's still 2 weeks. That's a lot of time. And when we hired Gilbane, they promised us that school would be absolutely, positively ready for our kids to go in. We have no facades on the outside. We don't have a fully equipped kitchen. I understand that the gym is being used for staging. We have OT and PT that's not ready, 4 rooms on the first floor. Everything else is pretty much substantially complete. Did I cover everything? So we've already gone out with, we had to get our attorney involved to get extra people in to work to get it finished to where it's at. Why can't you put more people in there to get it finished so there is more done? And we have a better school, because you absolutely positively promised, and that's in the records. So what I'm saying is, you know, you've got a substantial finish date of September 25th, and that's not acceptable. So what are you going to throw at this to make it happen?
We have been throwing everything we can at it to make it happen. And you're right, it's frustrating with the material supply chain disruption. In Kathy's description, in Kathy's letter, she speaks to the lateness of some materials that we don't learn about until the last minute. And I'm sure you've heard stories about that around the country. So we have been working our best to give you this school on time as best we can. And you will have students in seats, and if we can turn it over sooner, we absolutely will.
Because we're supposed to have half of the front is done and half of the back is done. We've got,
But that's a delivery issue, right? So we were told that we would get one set and another, and when it arrived, we had half of the front and half of the back. So we accommodate, we pivot to make it work as best we can.
and when will that be in?
Installed or on site?
Installed.
What does the letter say?
September 18th.
That is the date.
When will it be on site?
We are expecting, and if the manufacturer is correct, we should have it in the middle of August. The metal, that is the concrete panels, and the metal panels are expected on the site August 11th.
So it takes a month to get them up?
It's a coordination of activities in the areas that we're trying to finish all at the same time.
I'll let you continue, seeing I interrupted.
There are, as you mentioned, there's there's two other rooms, OTPT and it has a storage room too, but I'm sorry, I can't read the name of the other room. Integrated Arts, Unified Arts, sorry. They're behind the kitchen, sort of in that work zone of where they will be continuing to do some work. So those two spaces also are on the delayed delivery schedule. And I think we've already talked about the exterior metal panels and the cementitious panels. So those are when you saw the renderings, the blue colored panels at the front and also along one whole side of the gym, the side that faces the playgrounds, that those blue panels, unfortunately, they got half. So they're not going to be completed until the rest of them get here. Similarly for the metal panels.
Can you tell me when the furniture will be out of the gym so they can start working on that?
The goal is to have the furniture out by August 25th.
And school starts, and the teachers are supposed to be in their classrooms?
Yes, students arrive the 31st.
Right, but the furniture is not going to be in all of the classrooms?
It will be. It's sequence. So it'll go on for like 2.5 weeks of just bringing it up into each classroom and setting it up. And then, of course, the office room. Cafeteria room.
All of the furniture arrives the week of the 8th and 15th.
So
they'll
you
start
have
being moved
extra
to the furniture.
manpower to move it?
The furniture company.
Yeah.
And us if we have to be.
Right.
We will have a team to make sure it's done. They will be.
Yeah, because the teachers are trying to put their rooms together.
Yes.
The librarian's trying to put her books together,
Yes.
and they all have to work around.
It'll be
They
in
have
the
to know.
right, the 24th is the day that the teachers can come in and set up their classrooms. So all the classrooms furniture will be set up by the time they get there, and all the books, well, not books, but boxes from their classrooms will be delivered on the 22nd. So by the time they get there, everything that they need to unpack will be there in their room, and the furniture will be there.
Promise?
We have a really big holidays team. We will all be there, 24/7 if it has to be. But yes.
I know in the past we've done something similar, but so that August 26th, you're saying that teachers will already be moving into their classroom on the 24th.
Right.
So on the 26th, possibly if school committee members wanted to do a tour of the school and see the building that we're gonna have kids in 4 days,
We
that
can
would
do
be.
that earlier too. If you want to go mid-August, it's up to what you want to see, right? If you want to go in when it's a little crazy, then mid-August
Well,
is fine.
Well, I'm just wondering if I think that we would probably, I know we last summer dealt with summer construction projects that we ended up with challenges with. So I think some school committee members might want to see what our teachers setting up in and actually see what's happening on the ground right before school starts, so that we have a better idea. So like I said, we can obviously coordinate with SLIS, and we can come up with a plan that works for all work schedules, so that all members are able to attend, and it might not all be at the same time, but we'll try to get that together. But like I said, that 26th would be, the teachers are in their classrooms, they're setting up. We'd be able to see classrooms that have had time to be, yes, a few days of this. Ms. Grant and Ms. Noah.
Can we just clarify, because I'm just a little confused. So the gym, so the furniture is gonna be in the gym, but school's gonna start on the 31st. So when we say September 25th as a date, and hopefully sooner, that's not when the room's gonna be empty. That's gonna be the day the gym's gonna be complete,
The
correct?
25th of September, the gym will be complete.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, I just wanted to clarify. There were a lot of dates there, so I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Ms. Noah.
that was ordered much later. If you remember, it was an ad once in May. So it was always the plan that it would be installed as soon as possible, and that's the delivery.
So what do you have as a date for the whole building being substantially complete?
Yes, the solar panels also, it's October 30th, but that was always going to be after the fact. But everything else looks like the 25th, the 25th of September. Yes,
So photovoltaics as soon as solar.
that's the
panels.
solar panels, yeah.
Mr. Marino.
Speaking of the gym, since it already been cleared out after 4 weeks of school and session, are we planning on gym? Hello? Hasn't been rained.
Right, so, if it, well, it would be for a couple of different reasons. If the gym is not available in any school at any time, and if it's raining, then the class would take place in the classroom that the students are in. And it's not only just physical education, we also have PE slash health. So it might be an opportunity for just adjusting the schedule so that they can have health if they have to be in the classroom.
In your records,
Can you tell me what the original date that you said it would be substantially complete would be? Was it August 29th?
The 26th.
It was August 26th?
And the delays that have come up that are pushing these areas, that's all happened between the 25th of June and now. It's, chasing, and unfortunately, they give you a delivery date, and then fortunately, it's only happened. I know this isn't great news, but it's amazing under the conditions we're in the industry that this is all that's happened, from June 25th to now. The panels, they literally ordered the panels a year and a half ago. So they're custom, you're chasing and everyone's like, it's fine, it's good. And then, so we are Gilbane, and their teams are working Saturdays, Sundays, 10-hour days plus second shift when that trade needs to be there. But these delays are not labor driven. These delays are material driven.
Okay.
And this question might be for the superintendent, I'm not really sure. We just don't have winters to worry about, we have Baldwin to worry about. And then moving out and moving into the annex. So when do we expect the teachers to be completely moved out of the annex? And the time frame the teachers of Baldwin will have to move in?
So we have a mood management, and Chris has been working with our team on it's called mood management team. So Chris, you can.
Hello, everyone.
Nice to be back up again. So all of the moves from Baldwin into the annex have already been completed. All the teachers' boxes are actually outside their rooms already. All of the boxes that are going over into Winters are all stored in the central holding area, right in the where the cafeteria is at the annex, and those are scheduled to start as soon as the 18th. Start moving those in, and they'll be the same thing. They'll be placed outside of the teachers' rooms, so the teachers can go to the Metro Legion.
Thank you.
Of course.
Is it all?
Don't go away.
Okay, so what is going to guarantee that all the boxes that are outside the classrooms actually make it to where they're going? So we did lose half a library.
So I think in any move, a box is probably going to get misplaced, but they're going to be found. We actually, Lisa Ramsey, myself, and John Cody actually walked through Baldwin today. We only found 2 boxes that they missed out of probably close to 1,000. So, and those will be moved over again as well. So my team is on site. I actually have a meeting with a few other project managers on our team as well as Gentry Moving on Monday. And we're actually going to go into the annex and we're going to make sure that everything is lined up for this move to be as expeditious as possible and that as few things as possible are misplaced during the move. But when you're moving thousands and thousands of boxes, one or two may end up getting misplaced, but they will be found and delivered to that teacher.
Glad to see.
You got my phone number.
Great, well, thank you for that update. Like I said, I'm eagerly anticipating that walk through Winters as I see, we've done this twice before and it's exciting every time. This is our first new build. So I'm just really excited for the Winters team to have this school. The next is summer projects updates. Is this? John? We're all here. Okay. So I know we have multiple projects going on around the district. I'm not sure if this is a broad update. There isn't anything in the packet necessarily on this, so we're going only on audio. Okay, so.
Correct. Good evening, everyone. So I will start with the Curtis and Various Fire Alarm. The project over there is going very smoothly, on budget, on schedule, no hiccups. The substation completion in November, so it's not just a summer project, it's going over the school year. That's for the fire alarm project. For golf project, pretty much we have the same items for lead times. We have skylights that coming mid-October, doors and door frames coming by end of November, mid-December. We have cord drills beginning of October. We have millwork and 2 classrooms, 322 and 324. That's for lab. And for the lab, I'm talking about the golf lab here, the STEAM lab. We are actually doing temporary shelving over there by the millwork installation. We have.
Can you just clarify that classroom will be able to have students in it?
Yes.
It'll just have some temporary.
Yeah, pretty much the project will be substantially complete, which is flooring there, painting, new ceiling, everything is gonna be there for the students to be there. Temporary furniture because we're using the existing furniture until the new furniture comes. Doors, those are for the cross corridor doors we're doing for the fire code upgrades to satisfy a couple deficiencies over there. We're building walls, columns, frames, everything. Walls will be built complete, but the doors, until we actually have the doors delivered, we're going to be installing them, but everything will be finished and safe to be occupied.
Ms. Manella.
Have you double checked on delivery dates?
Every single hour.
Yeah. Just to clarify, so with the roof of golf, everything we see outside of golf right now, the pallets, is that all roofing?
Those are all roofing.
Okay.
And we already got some of these already on top. We started that. The roofing is going, touch wood, very well in schedule-wise. We're going to be able to have a new roof, maybe cap sheet. They'll be installing it later. But today they just started installing cap sheet because they didn't actually rip a new section because of the rain. So they started cap sheet instead. So hopefully we'll have the roof complete by the end of the summer.
So is it on track to be completed?
Yes, it is on track.
Okay. That's great.
And I thought it was gonna be this summer, but I'm not, I just want to check. We talked about is it the egresses in the gym in the back of the cafeteria going out? Are those being worked on this summer also?
Correct.
And are those gonna be, how are those gonna affect the school year?
So the only thing affecting this part of the project is the door delivery. They're gonna be closing it with like a wood fully closed, so no one can enter. It's gonna be an opening, so they're not creating second means of egress from the gym to satisfy the code. The opening will be there, finished, everything, just ready for the doors to be installed.
Okay, so it won't affect the gym classes at all during the once school starts?
No.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Great. So other projects or
Other project?
all of the libraries and fun
That's
stuff?
it. I'm Potter Burns.
Okay.
So I'm doing the Potter Burns envelope masonry repairs. As you guys know, there's been some water infiltration issues over the last couple of years at Potter Burns. Very pleased with the work the contractor's been doing to date. There's really no change from the last update that I gave this group. The crews are working 10-hour days, 6 days a week in this heat. We've been very happy with how they're pushing themselves. Some of the work still may carry over into the school year, especially on one side of the building. So there might still be some scaffolding up. However, that work will only take place on the weekends if there is more work. And it'll be just as safe as it was, actually be more safe as it was prior, because all of that dangerous masonry will have already been taken care of, and they're working their way from the top to the bottom. So some scaffolding might be in place with some scrim attached to it just for safety reasons. But certainly no change since the last update we gave you over a month and a half ago in terms of schedule.
Yes or no?
Is it leaking on the opposite side of the building as well?
On the interior side of the building,
Yeah.
well, we haven't really had any rain. But no, I mean, what they're doing right now, the scope has actually increased. So since this is a historic building, obviously during the school year, we couldn't do all of the investigative work that we wanted to do. Kids were in session, we couldn't really take down large pieces of the building. When we did start taking down large pieces of the building, we found that the conditions were actually worse than we could have even anticipated. So now we're replacing all of the precast stone lintels that cover the windows. Behind those, we're also now, instead of just putting in pieces of flashing, we're running continuous flashing. And all of this, I would say, a substantial amount of extra work that's still being completed within the project time period. We've just been really hammering them on getting this work done. So when this is all done, they have figured out every way that water could possibly get in that building.
But what I'm asking is the side that's not being done yet.
Second phase of this project, actually, all of the older part of the building is being done, deemed next summer. It was more cost effective, as well as just with the labor market, as you've been hearing, to get one side of the building done at a time. But it's the same contractor that's working on it, so they'll have a pretty intimate knowledge of the building and the setup, and they'll be able to hit the ground running next summer as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Derek
Good
Maloney,
evening.
Colleges Project Leaders. We're working on the project that includes the Slater cafeteria, not the cafe, and media centers, which we all know as libraries. Everything is going pretty much as we discussed the last time. We are honing in on the furniture delivery date, which will be in November. It will require the closure of the media center for about 2 days in each location. It will begin on about November 7th. They will make the deliveries in the evening because it's a large truck. And then the subsequent 2 days after that, the media center would be closed as they assemble the furniture. And we're giving ourselves 2 days so that we can hook up the IT and the electrical to the furniture pieces that require that. At that time, we will also be hooking up the light fixtures that are going to come in after school starts. So that'll all happen during those 2 days, and that will make the project complete. So we should generally be complete by Thanksgiving, say. But all the work during the summertime is going as we expected. The abatement in Curtis, Little, Slater, and Cunningham is all set. 3 of them done. Cunningham is the only one that remains. It's a smaller one that we didn't see until we pulled some other floor off. So that's being scheduled and done in the coming weeks. Right now, everything is almost finished painted. Ceilings are going in. We had some coordination work that we're doing with Gianna's projects for the sprinklers in Barrier and Curtis, and that's going along swimmingly. And carpet and tile should be going down in about 2 weeks. And then should be ready to have all the existing furniture, or at least the furniture that was saved and earmarked by the librarians, to be brought back into the classrooms, into the media center so they can be used. And Snyder Cafeteria will be complete. New fans, and new flooring, and John asked us to get some doors that lead from the cafeteria into the egress stairways, which are, original equipment to the building, so we're gonna replace those as well. But those won't come in until later because it takes forever to get a door. So, any questions?
Thank you. Is that, all of them? Can we, the last one, if we could just, I know I've asked this question, but an update on the LED lighting project? Thank you.
Melissa and myself have met with the team. Recently, we had a meeting today. They're gonna be starting the work in Little, starting in, as soon as the kids are out. They'll be starting probably the following Monday, where they have to do some foil work and replace some lighting. But because of the setback in schedule as far as lighting materials, we were gonna try and get half the project done during the summer, but it wasn't able to happen. So the majority of the project will be done during the school year. They'll be working second shift, and they'll be doing these lightings. It's about a total of a 6-month project from start to finish, would be, I think the date on it was August 5th for the start, and it's say about February. So they're gonna need about 4 to 5 weeks, but all that work will be done once school starts, will be done on second shift. And they'll go school from school. So as soon as Little's complete, then they'll go on to the next school.
Well, thank you. I know that construction in this time is not for the faint of heart. I'm glad that we are aggressive in this district and moving through, because that's the only way it's going to get done at this time. The only other option is just wait until, this is over. And I don't think that that's an option. So we move forward and we continue to improve these school buildings. So thank you. Okay, we have monthly vendor reports, budget transfer reports, and monthly overtime reports that Ms. Devine's put on. If you want to peruse them at your leisure and see if you have any questions. Ms. Grant.
So I noticed, it states Plymouth Plantation on here. So I'm assuming it was a class trip. Can we just get some background on that a little bit? Just because, I know with the new laws, and there are a lot of classes in schools that are forfeiting, things. So I just wanted to get some background on it. On page 5. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Devine, you're going to send that to us? I will. Okay, thank you. And just for anyone who doesn't have it in front of them, this is on page 5, $700 Plymouth Plantation. Okay. Seeing no other discussion on monthly vendor report, budget transfer report, monthly overtime report, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session regarding Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5, job performance, character, physical or mental health, discharge or employment. Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5, litigation, TJB City of Pawtucket et al. Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5, litigation Doe et al. V. Pawtucket School Department. See the executive session minutes and adjourn the executive session. Then a motion to adjourn to executive session by Ms. Marino, seconded by Ms. Manolo. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are in executive session at 7:17. That's all of us. You ready? All right. We'll reconvene in open session at 8:06. Ms. Vanilla?
Here.
Ms. Grant?
Here.
Mr. Larby?
Here.
Mr. Marina?
Here.
Ms. Doobie? Here. Can you please report on the votes of the 6/30/22 executive session?
The committee voted unanimously with five members present on a matter regarding the discharge from employment, to seal the executive session minutes, and to adjourn the executive session.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Ms. Miller, seconded by Ms. Grant. Mr. Marino?
Aye.
All those in favor? Okay, opposed? We're adjourned at 6:07. It's still light out there.
Not really.
No? No?